I asked Windows Keys websites where their keys come from. You know, those cheap Windows keys online, or ones that cost $10 or $20 instead of $200. Sites like Keysfan.com sell them to you, and everywhere else on YouTube. They're the sponsor for this video today. But the real question is this time, where do Windows keys actually come from? How are they so cheap? So for this video, I decided to do something different. Instead of researching online, I actually contacted several Windows Keys websites and directly asked them where their keys come from. Thanks to Keysfan for sponsoring this video. If you want to give them a try, you can get 50% off a Windows license using code BEZ50 or code BEZ62 for Microsoft Office. Links are in the description and the pinned comment. They support PayPal checkout, which added to a layer of buyer protection, which is much appreciated, and they also have a responsive customer service team, which I've actually tested out twice now. I've also purchased Windows keys from them myself, not as a sponsor, but just by myself to test them out in the first place, and we've done that twice or 3 times now across keysfan.com and their sister website keysworld.com. Now let's start the investigation. First, we need to understand something important about Windows licenses. There are 2 main types that most people will run into. The first one is retail licenses and the second is OEM keys. Retail licenses are more expensive generally, and it's the ones you get from Microsoft directly. These can move from one PC to another, so if you build a new system or you upgrade a significant portion of your PC, like the motherboard for example, you can transfer the license over. OEM keys are a little bit different. These are normally sold to system builders and manufacturers. They are meant to be activated on only one motherboard and stay there. That difference in flexibility is one of the main reasons OEM keys are so much cheaper online. But that still does not answer the real question. Where do Windows keys actually come from? So I emailed several websites that sell Windows keys and asked them a simple question. Where do your Windows keys come from? Some websites did not respond at all. Some it just didn't go through. Most gave very vague answers. I sent out an email to vipcdskeys.com, vipyourcdkey.com, whoskey.com, gvgmoles.com, keysworlds.com, one of my sponsors, keysfan.com, the sponsor of this video, and vendorfly.com. Now, these aren't all random websites. They actually come from YouTubers' videos, as they were sponsoring their videos or had like an integration segment into their videos. So one of them, of course, being my own, is keysworld.com and keysfan.com, which are owned by the same company. Interestingly enough, as well, VIPs keys, Your CD's keys, and whoskeys.com seem to be owned by the same company. As well, in their live chat, they refer to the same contact email. So just by inference here, we really only have 4 separate keys companies instead of the actual 7. Let's quickly go through them one by one. First up, GVG Mall responded with, "Hi, all keys are from legal supplier. They are authorized to sell these keys to our company, which means they are all good. Best wishes, GVG Mall team." So I followed up with them and asked them again where it actually comes from, and they said they are OEM and they come from a mass licensing program. So that sounds about right from what I've seen in the past. Next up, we have Keysfan.com, the sponsor of this video. They said, "Sir, we have stable suppliers and the codes are OEM." So we have OEM again, and then we have keysworlds.com, and they just said, "Hi, my name," and then just said OEM, nothing else. Then for the companies that were associated with VIPscd keys, they unfortunately didn't have an email to email, so even their live chat didn't go through to anything, which is a bit annoying. I'm pretty sure this is their email. That's the correct one that I found on their website, so it didn't go through there at all, and they didn't respond otherwise, so you're not really sure where their keys come from. Lastly, we have vendorfly.com, which actually responded in the live chat support, and they said, "All our keys are retail, sir." So I said, "Where do they come from? We support here only to assist you, sir." So I said, "So like, how do you obtain your Windows keys? Is it from bulk licensing or from somewhere else?" They responded with, "Our support team has not any knowledge about it, management will be able to tell you that. So I did say, can I leave you my email and can you find out for me? And they said, I'm sorry sir, we don't have the authority for that. But out of all of the sites here, we can see that apparently they offer retail keys, no OEM, which is cool to see, and that sums it up for all of our Windows keys sites. So most seem to be from OEM channels and they claim that the keys are legit. Well, fair enough. I think what's good as well with OEM keys, that it seems they remain active even after switching major computer parts and even switching computers. I released another video on this if you guys want to see it, linked in the description below, but please, if you do buy an OEM key, do treat it that it will only be active on the one motherboard. So that's the little caveat that I have to add in there. The truth is that it can be difficult to trace the exact origin of an individual key, but the important thing is that understanding the type of license you are buying and buying from a good site that has good support if anything goes wrong. In my case, I had already tested Keysfan previously using my own money. I used code BEZ50 for a Windows 11 key, 11 Pro key. I paid through PayPal, which is super easy to do, and I received the code within 10 minutes. Activation was instant and worked without any issues. I also tested their customer support and they replied pretty quickly, which is important if anything goes wrong with a license. Right now, my code BEZ50 gives 50% off Windows licenses, and BEZ62 gives 62% off Microsoft Office licenses. They also offer Microsoft Office and Windows bundles together for slightly less. Now, if you want to buy a cheap Windows key the smart way, here's what I recommend. First, decide whether you want flexibility or price. If you upgrade your motherboard often, a retail license may make more sense. If you plan to keep your system the same for years, which is pretty much most people, an OEM license is more than fine. Second, buy from a proper site with proper payment protection and support, like Keysfan.com. They actually have that PayPal checkout, which adds an extra layer of security. Third, activate the key and verify it. Open Command Prompt as administrator and run these commands. You can see that there's also this command as well, and these will confirm the status of your Windows activation installation. Take a screenshot of this as well, just in case you need proof of activation later, just in case something goes wrong. Highly unlikely, but hey, at least you have some proof. And finally, if anything does go wrong, contact support with your order information. So that is what I found after contacting Windows Keys websites and digging into how these cheap licenses actually work. A big thanks to Keysfan.com for sponsoring this video. If you want to try them out, you can use code BEZ50 for 50% off a Windows license, or code BEZ62 for Microsoft Office license. Links are in the description and the pinned comment. Let me know your experiences in the comments with cheap Windows Keys websites. Have you used Keysfan before, another website? Did your activation last long term? And yeah, that kind of sums up the video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Check out wisetick.org for some more awesome content. But other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!